Trolling, 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 trolling,
It's time for Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures on AM 1300 WQPM, brought to you by Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle. Call them at 1-855-782-FISH or FishlanderPontoons.com. Also by Backwood Sports at 5690 Highway 95 Northwest in Princeton. Your fishing and hunting supply headquarters. Call them today, 763-389-1987. Also by Dead Zone Guide Service. That's dzguideservice.com. Evan Cornell is the owner and operator. Give him a call today, 612-321-1308. And by Mounts and Memories Taxidermist. That's mountsandmemories.com. Call 320-491-2131. And now it's time for Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures on AM 1300 WQPM. And we welcome you to another edition of the Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures right here in WQPM. And I do have a couple of guests this morning. Have Milaca County Sheriff Brent, is it Lindgren?
Yep, that's right, Brent Lindgren.
Okay. And also Olie Warzecha, he's from Mounts and Memories Taxidermist, or taxidermy, I should say, in Cambridge.
Yep. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good. And I guess what we want to do this morning a little bit is talk about boat safety. I know we got the 4th of July holiday weekend coming up here next week, and it falls, on Thursday? Is that right?
Yeah, 4th of July is next Thursday,
Yeah.
and we expect to have a lot of watercrafts on Lake Milaca, so we're gearing up for that.
Okay. Now, it's been years. It's probably been 30 years since I've been to Milaca Lake, fishing on Milaca Lake. My two uncles and my grandfather brought me up there. In fact, one of my uncles still lives up in Milaca. So it's a pretty big lake for those people that don't know about Milaca. How big is it?
Yeah, Milaca is, if you can just imagine 20 miles across in each direction, that's a pretty good-sized body of water.
So if I get out in the middle of the lake, I can't see the shoreline then, right?
If it gets a little windy, you might not see the next shoreline.
Ooh,
So
I don't know if I want to take my little pontoon out in that or not.
Yeah, normally you see some larger watercraft when you venture out on Mille Lacs Lake. There's not very many, 14-foot boats. It's 20 and above.
So is it kind of like going on Lake Superior at times with the wind and all that too then? Or?
It's different. Mille Lacs is, of course, it's a little shorter and choppier waters, and so when the weather changes, you really have to pay attention to when you go out. Pay attention to the resorters. They're usually pretty good. Watch the weather. Weather usually comes from the west and moves to the east. Right. So if you keep an eye to the clouds and you watch the weather, that's a good indicator if it's coming to get off that water, because Mille Lacs can change so rapidly, and those wave actions become narrower, and smaller watercraft can have quite a time with that, trying to get off the lake, or if they turn wrong, a wave can overturn a boat or swamp a boat. So we have quite a few of those things that occur on the lake. So
okay, and I suppose, like you said, weather conditions turn or change rapidly on Mille Lacs, probably because of the body of water so big that the moisture kind of helps inhibit thunderstorms too, I suppose.
Well, weather is always unpredictable.
That's true. That's true.
But anytime you have a large body of water and you have land, you can have weather that gets created just because of the differences that are occurring there coming from the west.
Okay.
So always something to keep a watch on, and just keep an eye to the west.
All right. Brent, give us a little bit of background about how you became sheriff, if you would.
My history is, of course, I started out in 1987, which is about nearly 27 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, I started as a patrol deputy, and I worked primarily the patrol division for a number of years, and taught the DARE program, the Drug Abuse Resistance Education, in the area schools for a number of years, and then moved into investigations, civil defense, 911 addressing, criminal investigations, and then in 2002 became sheriff, and in the third term as the sheriff of Mille Lacs County, and proud to be here.
Okay. And Oliver Warzecha?
Yep.
And that is a You said Czech?
Czechoslovakian, yep.
Okay. So you weren't actually born in Czechoslovakia?
No.
Okay.
Great grandparents there. Probably a mix of Czech and Pole here, and that's kind of the name Olie came from there.
Well, I think that Ollie's kind of a cool name. I just got stuck with Brian. So my last name, Ek, E-K. How do you spell that? Just capital E, small K. And what nationality is that? Swedish, You can always tell it's Swede, but you can't tell them much. That's my little motto. So, but now you've worked with the DNR before too, right?
Correct. I worked a few seasons with the smoke chasers out of the Little Falls office, the DNR out of there. My dad was actually a state forester for about 30 years or so.
Okay.
So he got me into the DNR, and I worked a few years being a smoke chaser fighting wildfires over there.
Okay. When you say smoke chaser, okay, I understand smoke chaser. I was going to ask you that before.
Basically, a wildfire firefighter.
Okay.
Say that twice.
It gets pretty dangerous at times too, I suppose.
It can. It's some of the bigger fires where they bring in the C-40 planes or the helicopters and they start dropping water.
Yeah.
It's not just water they're dropping. They're actually dropping anything they pick up from those lakes, which can be boulders or big chunks of mud or whatnot. And I've actually seen where that water will just snap trees right in half as they're as they're spraying it, and so they call on the radio and everybody just scatters and waits for the drop to come in. So
well, I know with the fires out in Colorado, I've got a brother that lives in Colorado Springs. He wasn't close to that fire at all, but I've noticed some of the planes almost looks like a powdery substance coming out of them too, like a kind of a red powder. What are they?
Yep. They put a fire retardant in the water sometimes. So that's mainly in the planes. The helicopters just have a bucket that they scoop from the nearby ponds or lakes, whatever water reserve they can get to. So
okay. Well, we're going to get back to you, Olie, in just a little bit here. Brent, we want to talk about boating and alcohol. I know it's really a thing that, folks, you just should not drink and drive regardless of where you're at on a motorcycle or a boat or a car, RV, whatever it might be. Tell us some of the problems that you might encounter on the lake.
That's right. Obviously, we talk about driving while impaired or driving while intoxicated. They're one and the same.
Right.
But you also have driving while impaired in a boat and driving while impaired while ATV or other motorized vehicles. It's interesting, some of the statistics that are out there regarding drownings and watercraft accidents, that large percentage of them are alcohol related after discovery. So, our efforts are about education and about safety in the sheriff's office, so that we don't have either an accident where somebody was impaired and injured themselves or somebody else, or that we have a drowning and then we turn into a recovery of a victim out of the lake. So we certainly want to encourage people coming the 4th of July this next weekend to be responsible when you're out there in the boat, not only for your own safety, but for others.
Okay. And we've got Operation Drywater, which actually starts today, right?
Correct, yeah. Okay. You'll see an increased presence of Minnesota DNR agents that are assigned to the operation and will be out there on the lakes. Many sheriff's offices throughout the state of Minnesota also have boat and water officers or deputies that will be working with them in conjunction, trying to make sure that we have safe operation on the lakes. But DNR enforcement is primarily heading up this campaign, and so you'll see an increased presence of DNR agents on the lakes starting today.
Something that I know that people sometimes get nervous about, say, the sheriff's department being on the lake or the DNR, but they're out there to help you too, right?
Yeah, primarily the sheriff's office, we assign boat and water activities all summer long, starting with the opening of fishing. This year, obviously, we were a little late because ice out didn't occur until May 15th, so we didn't have an opener. But, the following weekends, of course, the first thing that we do is we go out and we mark, the sheriff is responsible for marking hazards on the lake. So as you go out on Lake Mille Lacs, you'll see a large number of buoy markers, and maybe it's important just to touch on that real quickly. A lot of people don't know what those buoy markers mean, but just in a nutshell, green and red buoy markers that are in the water those are marking a channel, and it's safe to go between the two. So if you have a green and a red, that's an open channel. You can travel through there. If you see an orange and white striped buoy marker on the lake, that's a safety marker that's put out there. And I'm primarily on Mille Lacs Lake. Those safety markers are marking rocks and reefs and dangerous shallow areas, and you want to stay away from those. And then we follow the U.S. Coast Guard's marking of the lake. And a new buoy marker that folks might see out there is a black and white striped buoy marker. And of course, if you come up to it, you go, what does that mean? And a lot of people don't know what those buoy markers are, but that black and white striped buoy marker would indicate to stay away from that buoy marker and the shoreline. There's some hazard between that marker and the shoreline. So that's where you'll see those buoy markers. So there's kind of three different ones, the orange and white striped, the green and red channel markers, and then the black and white. That's primarily what we mark Mille Lacs Lake with. And some of our markers now, we actually have flashing lights on them, so you can see them at night as well.
Okay. LED lights, I would imagine. So it's kind of nice to have those LEDs. They don't take very much energy at all. Say, I did want to just break real quick. We want to talk a little bit about Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle. We're going to be giving away one of those boats from Fishlander Pontoons. It is a tern, is what they call it, I think, which is also a bird. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I think that's what it is. But anyway, the mission of Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle is to provide sports fishermen, women, and enthusiasts of all ages with affordable solutions to their fishing needs. The owners, Bill Lalula and Joe Ong, are strong believers of the sport of catch and release, kind of like me. They share the passion of the conservation of our freshwater resources so that our future generations can experience the same great fishing adventures in our beautiful backyard filled with lakes, streams, and rivers. Now, if you're looking for fly fishing tackle and fishing gear, they've got an outfit that you just can't pass up, and all at affordable prices. So I urge you to go online to fishlanderpontoons.com, and that's fishlanderpontoons.com. You can also call them at toll-free at 1-855-782-FISH. That's 1-855-782-3474. Again, that's Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle, reminding you to always wear your life jacket and be safe. You can log on to their website again at fishlanderpontoons.com. And if you want to win that boat, I'll be out at Area Lakes taking some entries. And you can also enter by going online and emailing us. And the email address is Mnfha at WQPMradio.com, and just type in your name, your phone number, your address, and your age. And we have to verify age on this. You have to be at least 18 years of age or older to win this. And in your subject line, just put in contest. That's all you have to do. All right. We're going to take just a quick break. We're going to get in with Olie here. Olie, I told him about a friend of mine. His name is Willie P. Richardson. He does clean phone prank humor. And since Ollie's the taxidermist, I thought I would share this with him now.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Is this the place to do what you call taxidermy, stuffing animals and birds and snakes and stuff like that?
Yes, it is. My husband does it.
Yes, ma'am. Is he there right now?
No, but he'll be back in about an hour.
Well, I tell you, I was in kind of a hurry. Could I ask you something myself?
Sure.
This may sound kind of unusual, but I was wondering if y'all could stuff something for me.
I'm sure he can.
Have y'all ever stuffed a person before, a dead person?
You've got to be kidding.
No, I tell you what I want to do. My granny's about 90 years old, and she in real bad health. We know she going to pass pretty soon, but we just can't stand to give up. She been so good to us, and all she done raised 10 kids of her own and helped take care of all the grandkids for years.
You're not serious.
Yes, ma'am, I sure am. What we had in mind was after she passed away, we could just bring her down there to y'all, and maybe your husband could what you call taxidermy, have her standing up, maybe a pot of turnip greens on one hand, a pan of cornbread in the other. She loved to cook, and we all just loved to cook, and we was figuring we could just keep her in there in the kitchen by the dining table, so she'd look natural.
Sir, what you're talking about is completely illegal, and we can't do a human.
Well, we ain't gonna tell nobody.
That's beside the point. Nobody's going to do that for you.
I talked to a place this morning and said they would, but they wanted $5,000 to do it for her.
Who told you they'd do that?
I can't tell you, but we just don't want to give her up.
I believe you are crazy.
That's Willie P. Richardson. It's called Stuffin' Granny. Oh, my. I thought you'd enjoy that.
I wonder what my wife would be saying with a conversation like that. That's crazy.
Oh, my. It really is. Now, before we get into talking with you about taxidermy, we want to also mention a couple of our other sponsors here, too, before we run out of time today. Backwood Sports is located 5690 Highway 95 Northwest in Princeton. I'm sure that you actually passed them, as you probably know
sure
about
did,
it, too.
yep.
Yeah. Anyway, Tom is out there. Tom and Jack. Jack's the dog, by the way. For all your live bait tackle needs, don't forget that Backwoods Sports is your place for big game registration, and also they have that CO2 fill station as well. They've got it all from bobbers, sinkers, spinners, nets, and even camping gear. If Backwoods Sports doesn't have it, you don't need it. They're open from 5 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m., and they're usually open by the time I pass by at about 4:45, so you can visit Backwoods Sports today and tell them that you heard it right here on Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures. And also wanted to mention Dead Zone Guide Service. That's dzguideservice.com. Evan Cornell is the owner and operator there. You can call him at 612-321-1308. If you're looking for a great way to get out with your friends for some fishing or hunting, maybe you just like to spend a day with your significant other, then DZ Guide Service is the one to call. And there's nothing like heading out on the lake for a day of fishing, or all you have to do is fish and relax. Even Evan, I should say, and his staff will do all the work for you. They'll even put the bait on the hook, too, for you, in case you don't like doing that. It's a great way for couples to spend the day together. So give Evan a call today at 612-321-1308, or you can go online to dzguideservice.com. And Olie Warzecha is here from Mounts and Memories Taxidermy. And so have you ever gotten a call like that?
Actually, I have.
Have you really?
I've got a couple billboards out there, and on New Year's Eve last year, I had to turn my phone off late in the evening because I swear every drunk in the county was calling me with
I suppose
similar requests.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So tell us what it is that you do. And I told you this before. I said when I first thought about what taxidermist service is, it was, to me, ripping out the guts and putting, cotton balls in there. So
and I think that's a common mistake people make. People really don't know what we do as taxidermists.
Right.
So I'm a full service taxidermist. I do everything from fish to mammals, African, freeze drying, basically all types of taxidermy, reproduction fish, skin mount fish, and each species is a little bit different in how you go about preserving that species, but they're all similar.
Okay.
And that you normally skin the animal out, preserve the skin, and then mount that over a foam form to represent the animal at that point. So
okay.
Obviously a lot more to that than what I've just said. Obviously preserving the skin, and really what makes a good taxidermist, I'd say 80% of the people out there can do that portion of it and mount an animal. But what really makes a good taxidermist is the attention to detail. So having reference pictures out in front of you as you're mounting and finishing the mount, and watching all the little details that go into each type of mount so that they look lifelike.
Okay. Yeah, Brent just caught a huge was it a sturgeon? Was it the other day?
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah. So say that he caught this fish, and it was an immense fish, like a baby whale. What's the best way to preserve that before they get it to you?
If you're looking for a skin mount where we actually take the actual fish and mount that, the best way right after you catch it is to take a couple of digital photographs. And there again, a fish once caught is going to start losing its color very quickly. And so being able to take those pictures will allow us as a taxidermist to reproduce those colors when we mount your fish, and get those same color tones and the same colors into the fish when we mount it. Because as both of you know, probably walleyes, take them for instance, vary so much from lake to lake. A Mille Lacs lake walleye is going to look totally different than a Lake of the Woods walleye. They're going to have different color tones. The golds are going to be different. They're not going to be quite as bright, quite as vibrant. So being able to provide a taxidermist with a nice digital photo of that fish is going to allow us to mount that fish in the manner that you caught it. So you'll be much happier there.
Okay.
Right after you take a picture, it's best to always keep the fish wet. So if you have some sort of a towel or paper towels, I normally have a roll of paper towels in my boat. I wrap the fish up in paper towels, keep it wet, keep the fins against the body so you don't get any fin damage, and then wrap it in a plastic bag. Okay? And at that point, putting it on ice. Okay. It's not great when you catch a trophy, just throw it in a cooler full of ice. That ice is going to give you some scale damage and damage the fish. So the better condition you can keep the fish in to get it to the taxidermist, the better amount we can give you when we give it back. It's the old junk in, junk out premise there.
Okay. Now,
so
you open pretty much any time, or?
Correct.
Okay.
I've had people call me at 11 o'clock at night, say, hey, I just shot a bear. I need some help skinning it or whatever, and we'll take care of you there.
So you'll help them skin it and everything else too.
Definitely. Yep.
Okay.
No, I'd much prefer to help a person that doesn't know what he's doing,
right.
Skin an animal out, and there again, it's going to allow me to do a much better job mounting it, than if somebody just starts hacking away at it.
Now, can you do bear rugs then too, or not?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, really?
Definitely. No, we've done bear rugs this year. First year, we've done a couple of wolf rugs as the DNR opened the wolf season up. So any type of rug there.
Okay. What is the strangest animal you've ever done? Like a skunk or something like that, or?
Haven't done a skunk yet. That'd be a new one.
Okay.
Let's see. There's been quite a few actually. Rattlesnakes, armadillo.
Okay.
A hippo. Did a hippo skull for a guy last year.
You got an elephant on the way too.
Got an elephant on the way. I've actually had a guy call me last week about a giraffe. He's heading down there giraffe hunting.
Wow.
So some unique things come through the door. I've had people call me about tarantulas. I've done spiders before. All types of animals. Wow. And that's really what I enjoy about the business is being able to see all the different trophies that come into the door. Sure. I've seen more huge bucks and large fish in the last 10 years than most people, and that's really what I enjoy about the business.
Well, I'm just trying to think here. Now you were talking about boiling the flesh. Some taxidermists will do that, and you actually use a different way, don't you?
Yes. Yep. Nope. So you're talking about what they call a European mount, which is a skull mount. It looks kind of like the old cow heads that people put on their barns, but it's a popular way to preserve or mount a deer head as well as skull mounts. So people like to do that with bobcat, coyote, a variety of different mammals that they catch, is to preserve that skull and have that skull for them. So a couple different ways people do that. There's a process just boiling, just like you said. You take the skull and you start boiling it and boil all the meat off of it and clean the skull that way. There's a process called maceration, where you put the skull in a bucket of warm water and it basically sits there and macerates or starts to rot, for lack of a better word. Okay. And stuff will just start falling off. Or there's a third method which I use, which is dermestid beetles. So it's the same type of domestic beetle, that museums will use to clean their bones. So that's a real, they're very gentle on the bones. It allow us to clean even small skeletons, say a mouse skeleton, all the fine bones, and we'll end up with a perfect specimen at the end. So these beetles basically eat all of the flesh or any of the matter that would rot, and we're left with just a fine bone. So a couple. Probably not a whole lot of taxidermists like to use beetles. It is kind of a process to utilize them, and they do start to smell after a while, obviously.
I would imagine.
But you end up with a much nicer product. I used to boil skulls for probably the first 4 or 5 years I ran a business. Just never really happy with what the product that turned out. There's a couple downsides to boiling skulls. And that you actually boil the grease inside of the bone. And then it's very difficult to get that grease out of the bone once you boil it.
Yeah.
And then over the years, your skull is just going to start turning yellow. Whereas the bugs will take that all out. We still go through a degreasing process after it comes out of the bug tank. So the skulls will sit in a degreaser for probably about 2 weeks, pull all the rest of the grease out of the bone.
Okay.
And then we whiten it and put a sealant on it.
All right, we're just about out of time, guys. Olie, if you would, just give your website address and phone number that people can get in touch with you if they've got a trophy fish or whatever.
People can find me on the web at www.mountsandmemories.com or give me a call at 320-491-2131, and we're just south of Cambridge and north of Isani there.
Yeah, it's a nice location. You get a lot of information from Olie. That's what I found out too. So I appreciate you coming this morning with us, and Sheriff Lindgren is again with us, and we just want to recap too, folks. What's going to happen to you if you're boating and drinking and you get caught this weekend or this anytime for that matter?
Very similar to drinking while driving a motor vehicle on a roadway in the state of Minnesota. The laws now apply also to watercraft, and so you could be stopped, and if you were impaired, the officer could initiate an implied consent advisory, take you into custody, take a breath test or a blood test or urine test. You could possibly have your watercraft forfeited. Much like a motor vehicle can be forfeited if there's multiple DWIs. So, you want to be cognizant of that as you go out there on the waters. And again, we don't want to have to do that. We don't want to have to arrest people.
Right.
We don't want to have to forfeit vehicles, but we want to make sure that people are aware of that so that they don't drink in excess. Enjoy the time that you have on the waters and the weekends, and have a happy 4th of July, not spending time in our hotel.
Yeah. One of the better things to do too, folks, is if you're planning on drinking, and sometimes you get a little bit out of hand, but have somebody on the boat that's going to drive for you. Same with the car, and just eliminate that possibility of you driving drunk and killing somebody for that matter. The reason I say that is because I've had a couple friends that have been killed by drunk drivers in the past. One in grade school, another one in high school. So it's a traumatic experience for the people that are left to deal with it. So, I'll tell you what, you will feel guilty about it too if it ever happens to you. So just be safe, not sorry. And guys, I really appreciate you coming in and spending time with us today. And we'll have you guys in, I think, again soon. Any closing words?
No, just thank you, Brian, for the opportunity to educate the public. I think, it's good that we get the message out there and remind people that we are on the waters. People know that law enforcement are on our roadways, but we're also on the waters and the lakes, making sure that people are safe out there as well. Right. Enjoy the fishing season, and we'll talk to you again.
Yeah, and anything from you?
Just thank you again for inviting me in, and
sure.
To all your listeners, just keep a tight line and give me a call if you catch a trophy.
Yeah, if you catch a jackalope or something like that, I want to see it too. So, have you done any jackalopes by the way?
I have not yet.
Okay.
No.
Oh, one thing before we go, I know that you said that you don't like to do. And that is pets, right?
Pets, that's probably one of the few things that I'll turn down are pets. And, people are just emotionally attached to a pet, and I just would hate to screw that one up for them.
Oh, I bet. All right. Well, thanks, gentlemen, for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brent.
You bet.
Thank you.
And did want to mention our sponsors for the show, Fishlander Pontoons and Custom Tackle. You can visit them online at fishlanderpontoons.com. You can also call them toll-free, 1-855-782-FISH. Also, Backwood Sports, 5690 Highway 95 Northwest in Princeton. Call them 763-389-1987. Dead Zone Guide Service, it's dzguideservice.com. That's Evan Cornell. He's the owner and operator there. Give him a call today, 612-321-1308. And also Mounts and Memories Taxidermy. You can visit them online at mountsandmemories.com or call 320-491-2131. That's it for this edition of Minnesota Fishing and Hunting Adventures on AM 1300 WQPM.